It's always nice to be at the Hempfest, frankly. Somebody asked me when I first got in town, why do you still have the Hempfest? I thought you guys won. Well, we won in the sense that marijuana is now legal in Washington, but we're not near finished. There are a lot of problems that still exist. For example, people still lose their jobs every day in Washington, not for showing up to work in an impaired condition, but because they smoked on the weekend and they got drug tested on the first of the week and they had THC in their system. That's obviously unfair. We still have young parents who are having to fight for child custody to retain custody of their child when the only suggestion is that they're not fit parents is that they smoke marijuana. Now that's absurd. That's left over from reefer madness days. So, and we still have some problems with DUID. We still need the right to grow our own marijuana in Washington where recreational users still can't. So there's a lot of work to still be done before marijuana smokers are treated fairly. But I will say this. The people in Washington deserve enormous credit. You were the first. You broke the door of Prohibition wide open, you in Colorado, and there's no turning back, so we are in your debt. A Gallup had at first asked the question of how many Americans support legalizing marijuana in 1969. It was the year before we started NORML, and only 12% of the public supported legalization. 88% were opposed to it. Now, fast forward to about 3 years ago, when for the first time the national polling began to show a slight majority of the country favoring full legalization. Now we've got 5 or 6 polls that show anywhere from 51 to 58% of the entire public. It's not that they're pro-pot, it is that they understand prohibition hasn't worked. It's a failed public policy. Only about 14% of the country are regular smokers, 86% are not. But the majority of those non-smokers now support our position of full legalization. So as long as we retain their support, there's no turning back. We've known for at least 10 or 15 years that we were going to win this battle because of the demographics. But all the surveys showed were that older Americans, people my age and older, were the problem. We grew up in the middle of reefer madness, and it's hard to change people's opinion if that's their whole world they've known. But we also noticed that younger Americans, whether they smoked or not, it didn't much matter. Marijuana is no big deal to them. So we knew eventually our fallback strategy, we used to laugh, was if necessary, we'll outlive the bastards. Well, in some degree, I think that's what happened. Generationally, the younger Americans were always going to eventually legalize marijuana. I just wasn't sure that I would live long enough to see it, and I tell you, I am exhilarated every morning when I get up to have the chance to witness this really happening in America.
Well, we thank you for putting the lawyers together into a group that could learn about protecting the laws and just helping people not see the drug war being so hard to their families.